Hey, I'm Bear Walker. I'm the CEO and creative director at Bear Walker Industries. If you're watching this video, you probably purchased a skateboard from us. So first of all, thank you for ordering a board for us, letting us make you one. My team and I put blood, sweat, and tears into every single one we make, so I hope you enjoy it. So the purpose of this video is to show you how to assemble your new board. So first we'll go through all the components. You should have a box that looks a lot like this. All right, starts with your top piece of foam. You can actually use this to assemble on. You have your skate deck. Here's one of our slates. Then in the box, you should have 4 wheels with the bearings already pressed in them, 2 trucks, your riser pads, which are these harder pads, shock pads, which are these softer ones, your nuts and bolts, and there's an extra nut and bolt in here, so don't worry about that. So outside of what comes in your box, you're gonna need a tool or two. If you have a skate tool, that's everything you need. Otherwise, a standard set of sockets and a Phillips head screwdriver, and you're covered. I personally like to use the combo of a skate tool and a miniature Phillips head screwdriver. So what we're gonna start with is the nuts and the bolts, and you wanna have your board facing up. So we're gonna take our 8 bolts, which I have here, and you're gonna place them all in the holes of your deck. All right, so this next step's kind of important. You wanna lift your board, make sure all the bolts go through, turn it on its side, and then grab your bolts so you can flip it over the rest of the way. And we are gonna save these nuts for later on down the road. All right. Next, you're gonna take your riser pads and your shock pads. So you're gonna go riser first, and you want the extra hole in the riser to be towards the outside of each side. So the extra hole is gonna be over here. Then on this end, the extra hole is gonna be over here. And same thing for your shock pads. So they should end up looking like mirrored images of each other. There we go. All right, next we're gonna put on our trucks. This part is key. You're gonna end up with your trucks looking like this. The kingpin, which is this big bolt right here, they're both gonna be facing towards the center of the board. So we'll put on our first piece. Again, kingpin facing the center. Then our second truck. Again, the kingpin facing the center. All right, now we can go ahead and add the nuts to secure the truck to the board. All right, so you wanna hand tighten each of these as far as it'll go. Eventually it's just gonna freely spin, and that's when you need to switch over to the tools. But you wanna do as much as you can before that. All right, so they're hand tightened, everything's on here. You're gonna flip it up. That's when your tools come into play. You wanna have your Phillips head screwdriver, and then the small bolt or the small socket on your skate tool. All right, you wanna tighten these until it's snug. You can do like one more little like quarter or half crank after that, but you don't wanna over tighten these things. Also, I personally like to do diagonals. So you start with this one, do the diagonal, you'll get a more uniform compression. Yeah. All right, one side's done. One way to check your work is I just always check and see if like the same amount of threads are poking out of the nut after you're done. That makes it pretty safe to tell if you have like evenly distributed compression on it. All right, so now I'm gonna switch this over, do the other side, and then move on to wheels. All right, again, I've done this first nut, so now I'm gonna go to the diagonal. Again, we're finished doing all 4 nuts, so I wanna check and make sure there's the same amount of thread coming out of each one. Good to go. All right, we're gonna flip this back over and get out our wheels. All right, I typically like to do one side at a time. So I'm gonna start with this side. Sometimes you can undo those by hand. If not, the medium-sized socket on your skate tool. Okay, so this comes with 2 washers and a nut. So you're gonna put back on 1 washer, put on your wheel with the print side out, put on your second washer, and lastly, put on the lock nut. And again, you can just hand tighten this. We'll tighten everything down at once at the end. All right, now that both of those are on there, I'm gonna go ahead and tighten these down. And this is where you'll be using your medium socket again. All right, so I'm gonna tighten these until it starts to get some friction, some resistance. All right, so I can't hear any wiggle. Now I wanna see if it goes smooth. The wheel's spinning smoothly, so we know we're good. All right, again, I'm gonna tighten down this one until I start feeling some resistance. I can already tell that's a little bit tight, but that's good for us to show you. See, it barely spun. So I'm just gonna slightly back it off a little bit. And now we have a free spinning wheel. All right, now I'll rotate it and do the other side. Make sure 1 washer's on here. Print to the outside. Second washer. Lock nut. Make sure 1 washer's still on there. Print to the outside. Second washer. And the lock nut. Hand tighten. Now that we have both on here, we'll tighten these up again. Tighten until you have resistance. Loosen up a little bit. Now it's spinning freely. All right, tighten until we have resistance. That didn't spin at all, so we'll loosen it up a little bit. Spinning freely. All right. That's a finished board. All right, so we got 4 wheels on, got our trucks on, they're facing the right way. Everything looks even on your threads for your bolts. Yeah, just skate within your ability. While you're riding, I would take one of these tools with you. That way you can tighten or loosen your trucks to fit your comfort level, to fit your style. But yeah, enjoy and feel free to reach out if you have any questions.